Hello. Okay, so class has started just now. So welcome. I'm very happy to have two of you today. Rafa, welcome back. He was telling us about his holidays. And so today, what we're going to do is prepare you for an interview. And so I have some different questions here. I know we talk a lot about, where you see yourself in the future, what you want with the company, how to answer some of their questions. And today, I have some different questions for you, ones that we haven't really seen before. So what I think we can do is basically I'll ask the question and then we can maybe talk about it. You can either answer it if you want as if we were in a real interview, or we can talk about the do's and the don'ts when we answer this. Okay, so do we have any questions first? Doesn't look like we have any questions. So it looks like I'll start with my questions for you. For example, someone might say, how do you plan to achieve your career goals? Now, if you haven't thought of this before, it's something you should think about. You have this goal. What is your ultimate goal? Where do you see yourself, as I've said before, in 10 years? And how are you going to get there? So Ken or Rafa, any experience with this question, or do you have any ideas on what you would say in this situation? Hello.
Sorry, what question? So I missed the question.
The question is, how do you plan to achieve your career goals? Actually, what I can do is write them in here. You plan to achieve your career goals. How do you plan to achieve your career goals? So it's similar to a question that you could think about. How do you plan to achieve your goals? What do you want to do in life? Maybe it's you want to become a teacher and you want to study and you want to go to university and you want to get practice, and there's lots of things that you can do. Maybe it's a specific subject that you want to teach, elementary kids, art, something like that. Hello, Alex. Nice to see you. We're talking about questions in an interview, and let's see if I can copy and paste this so you can see the question that we're talking about. How do you plan to achieve your career goals? Okay. No one wants to talk today. This is more of a conversation class.
Okay.
Yeah, help us out, Ken. How would you answer this question? Has anyone ever asked you this question?
Okay. I think we need to check what is the requirement to achieve the goal, especially the kind of professional career goal. Not maybe for the lifetime, achievement. Maybe it's up to the person, but for searching for the careers, professional careers, maybe we need to check what are the requirement for that. For example, license or some experiences or something like that. So somewhat we have to be realistic for searching for that professional career.
Absolutely. So if you, like I said, let's change. Maybe you want to be some kind of a doctor. Okay. You have to decide what kind of a doctor you want to be, and then what you have to do to become that doctor. So maybe it's you get a 4-year degree in one school, then you're going to go to a post-grad school and you're going to study this, and then you're going to do this. Then when you start working, you have another kind of, we say start from the bottom of the totem pole, and you have to work your way up little by little. So it's these steps in life that are really important.
Yeah, exactly. Step by step, yes.
Exactly. Very good. Thank you, Ken. Rafa, any comments?
No. I completely agree with you. Yeah.
Have you ever been in this kind of situation that someone's asked you this question before?
Yeah, but I think at least
You did answer it very well.
no, for sure. But when you are talking about career, you are talking about your professional's goals, or
Yeah, like your profession, your career. Like my career as a teacher, it's like your full-time, forever job. Okay.
yeah, yeah. But because when you was asking about this question, I was thinking in different kind of jobs, or more than in my personal life or in my professional life. I was thinking in an interview, in a job interview. For this reason, I was thinking in different kind of jobs. You can answer, but if it is in your personal life,
No, I mean,
it's
it's more for jobs. You know, this is about getting a job. And let's say you talk to the interviewer and you say, I want to be this in my life. You know, little by little, I'm climbing this career ladder, we can call it, and you're getting closer to your goals. So maybe you're here trying to get a job at the company so you can get experience in this area. And then later on, you'll probably either want to get a promotion, move to a different department, etc. So it kind of tells them where you are at within your career goals. Are you at the very bottom to work your way up a lot, or are you more at the top in which you just need a little bit more? So they're kind of wondering what's going on with you, you know, your process of thinking. Okay, anything else to add?
No.
Perfect. Well, let's go to another one. This one I really liked. This one, we haven't worked with many questions like this, and I will type this in a second. What are the most important rewards you expect in your career? And so, what are the most important words you expect in your career? So for example, if you're a teacher, you will see you have these little rewards of, oh, a child learned how to spell, oh, a child learned how to write their name, or, you know, they can read, things like that. So, I mean, this can be real life too. I mean, talk about your jobs. For me, obviously being a teacher, when people remember vocabulary, they remember grammar, those are little rewards for me. That makes me happy. So that's what they're looking for. Okay, so Alex, so we must consider a different aspect, like professional skills, horizontal extent, and management skills, vertical extent. It's for the previous question. Okay, well, sure, yeah, absolutely. There's lots of different angles and sides and everything to these questions. So yeah, I guess it does depend. So good, thank you for your comment. And anyone, Ken, you're also a teacher, an assistant teacher, I think you've said. So what kind of rewards do you expect in your job when you go to work in the morning or whatever time you work? What do you think is rewarding for you?
Yes, and yeah, maybe teaching process. Maybe if the student understand, you know, what I'm teaching, it's a reward. Also, maybe communicate with students. Yeah. So, and salary actually, because you know, money is the kind of one vehicle for working. Also, sometimes I could feel the feeling of achievement if I, you know, if I achieve some, not the kind of major achievement, just a minor achievement in the daily life. If I after the complete my work, I can feel such satisfaction. Yeah. that community that delivers from my career. Yeah.
Good. Well, it can also be, for example, a student comes to a student. I will read that, Alex, in a second. Sorry, I got distracted. What was I going to say? Something about, for example, a student comes up to you and they'll say, hey, you know, that lesson you taught us yesterday really was helpful for me. And then you're like, oh, that's great. So, you know, it's those little things that make you happy and are quite rewarding. Especially, I think it's with, you know, a lot of different, any kind of teacher per se, you know, someone like a personal trainer, for example, to help people lose weight is also kind of in the same boat. You know, their rewards are someone says, hey, this, you know, my clothes fit better. Hey, I'm losing weight. Hey, you know, you're doing great. Things like that. So anyone who kind of teaches, I think, really is it's really good. So good. Let me read what Alex. The most important for me is, as a web developer, is create another Facebook. Ooh, like a different Facebook, but okay, like Facebook, but it's twin, maybe. So, well, yeah. I suppose in all the social media that we have today, to invent something different, we're kind of at a point in my life, I think. What more do we need? You know, like what else are we missing that we don't have already? So I'm sure that would be quite difficult. Good, Rafa, do you have any comments?
Well, may I answer the question too?
You can answer the question, yes.
Okay, thank you. For me, as psychologist, the most important rewarding in my job is when I see my patient become better, be wealthy, and no healthy, more than wealthy, healthy, and to when I saw my patient to cope different situation better than before, and to try another ways to, or when they are trying to think out of the box in order to find out a new behavior with his mate or with their friends or something like that. When they becoming healthier and healthier is the most important rewarding, at least in my profession for me.
Yeah, absolutely. No, that's great. It's a good way to look at it. You know, people, I would kind of say I would consider, maybe I don't know if you're going to like this, but a teacher as well. You're teaching someone, you know, how to live their life, how to be better, to become healthier mentally. So absolutely, and it has to be really rewarding when you see that someone is not fixed 100%, but that they feel better. They're acting different because they're taking your advice. So that is definitely an important job. Let me read what Alex has said again. So Facebook is only like very popular site. Okay, so not social media. It is very impressive when many people use your program and make it something useful. Okay, so you're just looking to, you can invent an app or something like that. I don't know how far web developers go. But yeah, I'm sure it is. It has to be really, really special. And Thomas, you know, does have a website too, in which should be up and running by now. I don't think I ever got the 100% full okay that it's up, but you know, with different things that he's been working on for a really long time, and just like Intenga, you know, Thomas had started Intenga. Rafa, you weren't here for that, but this started, oh gosh, it was either 2 or 3 years ago. I want to say 2, but it feels like 3. But anyway, you know, Thomas started this Intenga, and it was just to learn English online, and lots of people used it. We have over 700 people in our Facebook group. So that's fantastic. So yeah, no, I know exactly where you're coming from, Alex. Fantastic. Good. Any other comments before I ask my next question? Must be like a Monday. Everyone's pretty quiet, so. Okay, this is actually a really good conversation one. So I'll have to thanks again for answering. Okay, it says, describe a situation in which you had to work with a difficult person. At school, coworker, something like that, supervisor, boss. How did you handle the situation? And is there anything you would have done differently in hindsight? Let's look at the word hindsight first. Does anyone know what that means? Do I hear birds chirping? No, no one knows hindsight. Hindsight means the past, history. So looking back on the situation, would you have done anything different? Okay. So for example, a situation could be, I'm trying to think, when something didn't go right at work. I can't really think of one at the moment. Maybe when I was waitressing, maybe hours, maybe no, I can't even think of anything really. I mean, I know there's things, but a situation that happened at work that was with a difficult person. You know, actually, I can talk about a situation that I saw, not one that happened to me. But for example, I was waitressing, and there were two other waitresses that didn't really get along as friends. You know, they were rivals, you could say. They didn't like each other. And we had sections at that time in the restaurant. So I took care of these 5 tables. There's 5 or 6 tables in each section. And so this one table was there. 2 tables had been sat at the same restaurant, in the same section, I should say, at basically the same time. So what another waitress would do is, you know, ask one of the tables if they want something to drink, and the waitress for that section would, you know, get the other table. So, which is fine, great. The problem is that I think the boss had told the waitress that didn't get along with the other waitress to get those, and to get the drink order, and the other waitress wasn't happy, called her a very bad word in front of customers, and then was later fired. So in hindsight, she probably shouldn't have got angry when someone was trying to help her. Did we follow that situation?
Maybe the knowledge, or how can I say, learn from the mistake kind of thing.
Exactly, you learn from your mistakes, exactly.
Okay, I got it.
So something like that, you know, if something ever happened at work, maybe that you saw, I couldn't think of any situations with me offhand, but any, you know, difficult situations that you've seen or lived through that you think, oh, I probably shouldn't have said that, or I shouldn't have used this word, or is there anything that you might regret? Anything at work? So, talk about a situation, any situation in which it's hard to see all these letters. Difficult person, and let's see here. And now Marco's here writing on Facebook and blocking my view. He was a difficult person. How did you handle the situation? And would you have done? This is taking forever to type today. Done anything differently? There we go. So Ken or Rafa, can you think of any kind of situation? One time you gave advice and you're like, this might be risky or something, but so what happened?
Well, I remember one situation perhaps 7 years ago when I was working in a company in the human resources department, and she was one coworker working with me, and I trusted in her, and I was so confident in her. But at the end, she was intentions in order to step the ladder to be more successful than me, and she was hiding his intention. She was she wasn't telling me everything about the situation. She was hiding information in the department in order to be more successful than others. And I got the situation, but I tried to talk with her in order um, to open the situation or to clarify the situation. And it was so horrible because it was worse than I thought. Finally, she in the same way, even words, it was so difficult to manage for me. And what I learned, many times you need to be conscious what is happening and try to don't say anything about fight the situation, because it could be worse than you thought, in my opinion.
Yeah,
About
that does happen. And, you don't think, I mean, of course, people want to improve and, move up in the companies, which we've talked about before. But isn't it terrible when someone takes advantage of that situation? I wouldn't think about doing it ever. But then there are some not so very nice people out there. So, well, that happens. But now job change and things are better, I'm sure.
yeah.
Ken, what about you? Ever been in a strange situation, maybe with a student? You can't even think of a student.
Yeah, on the internet, I don't know, I don't know how many, but some people are on internet, like internet broadcasting sites or any social media. Some people dare to troll. And so at the beginning, I was surprised at it, and uh, I didn't know how to deal with them. But now I think I can handle them somewhat. I think to ignore is the best way, because if I react, it's a kind of reward for them, because the reason for their trolling is to they are searching for making troubles, or I cannot say give bad something to other people. So to ignore is the best way. That's why I learned in a kind of hindsight after I started some social media, something like that.
All right, yeah. No, and I think you're completely right. You have to be careful what you say, how you say, especially on social media, because now with, people can take pictures of things and then that's evidence. It's not like from many, many years ago when we were younger and we didn't have the same things. So it's just, you have to change with the times too. And so maybe what was okay 20 years ago isn't okay today. And how you say things and things like that. So definitely.
Yeah. Somewhat
Sometimes
our society is becoming more free, but some part of our society is becoming more kind of less freedom nowadays, in my impression. Yeah.
I think things are going both ways. We're getting more open-minded, however, we're still closed-minded. And I think because the more open-minded people are saying more, the closed-minded people are now saying more as well. So I
Right.
think in a couple generations from now, some things might get better. Probably in 3 or 4 generations, things should be pretty good, I would think. But we'll always have closed-minded people because we just have to in the world. So we need a little bit of every kind of person to learn. So good. Fantastic. Well, any other comments before I ask my next question?
No, thank you.
Perfect. All right. So thanks, Rafa, for answering that. Let's see. That one we've kind of... Oh, okay. Here's a good one. Pretty simple. I just muted myself, and I don't know how. Okay, so why did you select your college or university? Okay, so pretty simple. So for example, I can answer that question. I went to a college in Wisconsin that was called Green Bay. And I chose that college because I was scared to move out of my house, basically. So I didn't want to go too far from my parents' house. But I also didn't want to stay living at my parents' house. So that's how I chose my university. I couldn't stand living with my parents anymore, but it was only about 45 minutes away. So not like my twin brother who went 5 hours away. So good. So what about you two? Why did you select your college or university? Was it because of the programs, the teachers, etc.?
If I may, at least in my case, it's the same as you. I went to my university because it was so close, and it was the only place I could study psychology, and it was perhaps 20 minutes far away from my house. And when you were talking about your university, you was smiling, and also I smiled when I think in that time. It was so nice. It was my university. It was the only one in a big area that you could study psychology, because if you want to study psychology 20 years ago, you must go to Catalonia or another places far from your home. This was the reason because I select my university.
All right, good. So very similar to mine, basically, not too far away. And the other good thing, and I think most people, I shouldn't say most people, but people who don't live super far away from their families go home on the weekend, so they're not so far away. Of course, you do your laundry, your mom gives you food. So, financial works out pretty well. Ken, what about you? Why did you select your college or university?
In my case, I didn't go to the university after I graduated from high school, and I was working, and but I was learning English because I was very curious about English language. Also, I want to master English by myself. So, and I met a friend actually, and he said he was going to the university at that time. So I said, how? And also he learning English there. So I asked him how, and he said that university has the kind of a section of for adult people, So usually, to enter the public or national university in Japan, we need to pass the center exam, which means I have to take center exam require almost all subjects. But apart from English, I almost forgot other subjects like math or etc. So, but he said that test for adult just requires the English exam and interview only. So I took that test and I entered that university. It's a night school of the university. So and then the graduate school, since my major was English, so I wanted to go to the graduate school. It's also it's a kind of realistic issue. I cannot enter the other fields at graduate school. It's very difficult because I don't know other field. So I took the test and yeah, and then this degree, and also I found I asked my colleague students in that the graduate school, and he said that my graduate school don't require the test, but they require the thesis, master thesis, and the interview test. So that's the main reason why I chose this graduate school, actually. Also, it's a national university. It costs much cheaper than private university. That's another thing. Yes, that's it.
Exactly, that money is always an issue. So interesting.
Right.
No, it's quite interesting to hear about the different ways. I also had to take an exam in the United States. Depending on where you live, you're either going to take the ACT or the SAT. And the SAT is more for, I think, the coastal schools, so the east or west coast, I think, if I'm remembering correctly. And in the center where I lived, I took the ACT. And basically, I think it's out of 30 points. I don't think I remember what I got, but yeah, I think 30 is the max. And then from there, so the schools say, we want you to have between this number and this number, for example. So then they kind of put you.
Yeah. I think it's called G in Americans. G something. I forgot that kind of that universal test for entering university in America.
We have the ACT and the SAT. So those are
SAT.
Yeah, and that will depend on which school you go to. So I took the ACT is what my school was looking for. I don't know, the SAT I think is something that is, I don't want to say more advanced, but more prestigious. If you want to say that, I really don't know. All I knew is I took the ACT twice, got the same grade, and that was it. So, just a lot of exams.
In my case, I could skip these universal tests for entering university. Yeah.
Interesting. Huh. And so you said you had to do an interview. So what kind of questions did they ask you there? Do you remember?
Yes. Yes. For the university, the interview, maybe I forgot it. It was a long time ago. Maybe there was something about the reason why I want to study there. Yeah. And this graduate school, the interview, kind of PhD degrees. I have already not subscribed. I forgot about substituted the thesis, master thesis. So mainly, they ask about my thesis. Also, maybe such things.
Okay. Well, very good. So interesting. So things are similar and different at the same time. Let me see. Oh, this is a good one. Okay, there's another good one. But this is what led you to choose your major. In American English, we say you study your major or field of study. So what? I muted myself again. Okay, so what led you to choose your major or field of study? What led you to choose your field of study? So basically, as I'm a teacher now, it had nothing to do with what I actually studied at university. I studied art and Spanish because I liked those things. My parents forced me to go to a 2 or 4 year college so I could get a good job. A 2-year college is more like, it's called an associate's degree. And basically you don't get that much money at a job, because it's a lower degree, it takes less time, and it's more focused on the job right away. Now in a 4-year school, you do a whole bunch of prerequisite classes, the basics, history, stuff like that, science, blah, blah, blah. Then once you get into your 3rd year, you have to decide your major, and then you can obviously take the courses that you need in order to graduate. So I chose Spanish because I liked it, and I chose art because I liked it, and that's it. So with my Spanish, here I am in Spain, and I teach English. So what about you, Rafa? Tell us about your major or your field of study.
Well, at the beginning, I was interested in cars, in engines, and into designs, motors, motorcycles, and it was my interest when I was young. But I to get one study in England, but I couldn't get the scholarship there. And for this reason, I needed to change my mind. And the second thing, it was psychology. I was interested in how people have this kind of behavior, why the people go to that place instead of other places, or why people family structure. It was in that way. I was interested in the human being, and more than in cars or similar to cars, and psychology with and for this reason I was interested in cars and in human beings. And at the end, finally, I got my career more focused on person than in cars, but still I have the two, both of them interested.
Yeah, you like both of them still. Good.
Okay.
Well, perfect. Well, thank you. Ken, what about you? You kind of already told us.
Oh yeah. First, keen interest about English, so I wanted to master English. And then I realized to enter the graduate school, we need to choose the what kind of study we're gonna do. So there are 2 courses are available, and linguistics and literature. So I'm not good at grammar, and I'm not so keen interest about learning about grammar, but I like art and music. So also the mentor of the English literature, not English, American literature, he was pretty good actually. He gave me a pretty good impression to me in his class. So I came to him to how to enter the graduate school also. Yeah, such things. That's how I chose my major. Yeah.
Interesting. Well, good. So it's kind of like, when you come to a point in your life and you have to decide, something happens, and, I decided to come here because I found a program to teach English because I was a native, and I thought, well, sure, that's great. And then, then I found my husband very shortly after arriving here, and that's why I'm still here, and I'm still teaching English. So, I actually did get certified to teach English after I was here for the second school year. Towards the end of the second school year is when I did the course. I'm very happy about it. I'm a problem solver and I like puzzles and to solve things. I was using my grammar knowledge of Spanish and putting it into English. What an article is, a preposition, the conjugations, things like that. Oh yeah. I just started reading all this material about the verb tense. I was like, oh yeah, that's true. We do that. Yeah. So it was really, really interesting to me to relate that. So if I hadn't learned Spanish, I don't think I would have been able to do this whole verb tense thing very well. I don't think I would have understood it so easily. So Spanish helped me learn English is what I say sometimes. I should say it helped me learn the parts of grammar, parts of speech, etc. But so yeah, so quite interesting. Good. Well, I think my last question, sorry, I was marking off the questions that we did because I have plenty more on here that we'll do in the future. Okay, so this will be probably the last question here. What 2 or 3 things would be most important to you in your job? So what 2 or 3 things would be most important to you in your job? I suppose I can start. 2 or 3 most important things, I would say, if I like the job, the money, and if I get respect for doing it. So that's what I would say. Ken, what about you? Rafa's been starting first. Ken, what do you think?
Yes, I think to communicate with students, yeah, also maybe other, but maybe the work in general, we need to have a communication skill, smooth communication skills. That's one requirement. And 2 is knowledge, because a teacher's job is to teach knowledge, so we need to study about what we are teaching. And third thing, maybe, how can I say, teachers, even the knowledge is same, but some teacher can teach better than other teachers. Also, it's a chemistry kind of, because the student is a human, so there's a chemistry between teachers and students. Maybe I have to know that. Also, even though chemistry is not good, maybe we have to teach. So we need to arrange our teaching style in accordance with the students. We want to know their needs, what they want to know, such things. So maybe, that's the point I want to,
Sorry, I do agree with that. The chemistry is important, and it's also, if you put forth effort, they will too. And if they don't put forth effort, the teacher doesn't really want to either. And so it's that mind game of, it's 50-50 at times, and you really have to try. So I definitely agree with that. And it's also learning, I should say, understanding how to teach someone, because we all learn in different ways. And so you have to do many different things. If it's a difficult topic, for example, that they just don't understand, what can you do?
Yeah.
Maybe it's a movie, maybe it's, acting out something, re-explaining it differently, do it backwards, just do it a different way, because it can always help. So that's also very important. So good. Right. Any other comments?
No, thank you.
Okay, good. And Rafa, what about you? What 2 or 3 things would be most important to you in your job?
Well, one of the most important, at least right now, is to be updated in my professional skills. There are a lot of new researches, new development in my field, and I need to be updated in everything. The most important, and it takes me a lot of time in order to update myself in the knowledge. The second one is enjoy with my profession, with my activity, enjoy because I cannot deal with things that give me a lot of effort, or I am suffering when I was doing this kind of job. Enjoy with my profession, even though there are different moments, but enjoy when I what I have been doing. And of course, perhaps in the third place could be salary. Also, the money I get is important in order to my daily life waste. 3 points: enjoy, being with David, and salary.
Perfect. Well, that sounds good. You know, it's always nice to be respected for your job and appreciated for what you do. So perfect. Especially in our professions where we're helping and guiding people in their lives to improve something, to put it generally, and group all of us together. So wonderful. Well, that's basically it for today. Like I said, I have tons more questions. I like interview classes because I think it's helpful. I mean, eventually one day you will have an interview in English, or maybe part of an interview in English. And I think it's really important, especially for the business world. So we will definitely have more classes like this. And I think that's it for today. We have a class on Wednesday, which is going to be about ranting and raving. So emotions and things like that, and different vocabulary. So join me for that. And I think that's about it for today. Any final comments? No?
No.
Yeah, Ken?
Thank you very much.
Well, you're
Thank
very
you for
welcome.
your dedication.
Well, no problem. It's my job. Well, very good. Well, you guys have a great day, and hopefully we will see everybody very soon, which is on Wednesday at 3 o'clock Spain time.
Okay.
Okay?
Thank you very much. Bye.
All right. Have a great day. Bye.
You too. Bye.
Bye.